So Leo let loose a massive creation, and it kind of makes you want to run out and eat some kale and hug a sunflower. But joking aside, the church did not need to invent a liturgy for creation this July. She built one 13 centuries ago, staffed it with fasting and a procession through the fields, and then let it die of neglect rather than persecution. So buckle up and swat a Pachamama, folks, because today we're going to talk about Rogation Days. The major rogation is fixed every year on April 25th. It has nothing to do with St. Mark, although it coincides. The feast of St. Mark simply landed on the same date centuries later by coincidence. And the real reason for that date is older and stranger. Rome already had a festival on April 25th, the Robigalia, a pagan procession begging the god Robigus not to blight the wheat with rust and mildew. The church did not abolish that instinct to give thanks for a harvest. She baptized it. So where the pagan version begged a false god for grain, the Christian version processed to beg the true one. And by the time St. Gregory the Great regulated the custom around the year 600, it was simply the Roman Church's own observance, with no more memory of Robigus attached to it. And in fact, I never even heard of Robigus before I researched for this evening. And the fathers of the Roman Church did not think the agricultural anxiety of pagan Italy was beneath a Christian answer. In other words, they saw an opportunity to direct the thoughts and hearts and minds to giving God thanks and also petitioning him for his assistance for the harvest. They took the actual fear, the felt fear of a failed harvest, and which I'm sure exceeded the anxiety that many have about the climate today, and they gave it a true object of prayer instead of a false one. And that is the correct model for engaging a live anxiety liturgically. Now, the second rogation, the minor rogation, it's a story about a bishop named Mermertus. I'm probably pronounced his name wrong, of Vienne in Gaul. And he was operating around the year 470. His city was being hammered with earthquakes, fires that wouldn't behave, and even apparently a plague of wolves prowling close enough to be a civic terror. So whatever the precise list of minor chastisement there, the pattern was a calamity stacked on top of another calamity. And Mamertus did not respond with a committee or a press conference or a synodal gathering. He instituted 3 days of penitential procession and fasting before the Feast of the Ascension, and he led his people through it himself. And it worked. The people came to it, and it held. And within a generation, the Fifth Council of Orleans in 511 ordered the practice for the whole of Merovingian Gaul. So other regions adopted their own versions on their own timing. Milan kept it before the Pentecost, Spain the week after, and by the 9th century, when Charlemagne's bishops petitioned Rome to fold the Gallic custom into the Roman liturgy proper, Pope Leo XIII agreed to a compromise. The fasting was relaxed, but the penitential procession itself was kept, non-negotiable. So notice what that compromise tells you. Rome was willing to soften the discipline a little bit, but it was not willing to drop the public act of penance and supplication entirely. The bishops of the 9th century understood something that the bishops of the 20th century apparently did not. You can adjust the rigor of a practice for pastoral reasons without simply removing it from the calendar. Now let's look at the theology underneath all of this, because it's not about some sort of sentimental nature appreciation. The old Roman ritual describes the Rogation Days as days instituted to appease God's anger at man's transgressions, to ask protection in calamities, and to obtain a good and bountiful harvest. So imagine that. Appease God's anger at man's transgression comes first. The bountiful harvest comes last, almost as an afterthought. The Catholic mind that built this liturgy did not see the weather and the crops as a closed physical system indifferent to man's moral condition. It saw sin and consequence as connected in the created order, the way St. Paul saw the whole of creation groaning under the weight of it in Romans 8. A failed harvest was not simply bad luck. It was at least potentially a summons to repentance. Postmodern churches don't speak this way of God anymore because they present to you a new religion. Pre-1960s and post-1960s Christianity are different religions when you consider it in terms of foundation and telos. So that is why the actual rite is penitential in structure, not merely commemorative. the procession opens with the antiphon, Exsurge Domini, arise, O Lord. And the whole litany of the saints is chanted, every verse and every response said twice, moving through the calendar of heaven, asking each of the blessed by name to intercede. Only after the invocation, Sancta Maria, does the procession itself begin to move out of the church, through the fields, to the town. The priest blesses the crops as he passes them. The people walk. It is not a message. It's a bodily act of collective sorrow and collective hope performed outdoors in view of the very fields whose fruitfulness is at stake. Compare that to a psalm verse read in front of a Pachamama. There is something that will surprise you, perhaps, if it's the first time you heard it. And it's not just a Latin peculiarity, this Feast of Rogation, because at around the same point in the calendar, the Syriac and Chaldean churches of the East also keep their own 3-day fast, entirely independent of its origin, which they call the Fast of the Ninevites, or the Fast of Indiction. The name tells you everything because it commemorates the city of Nineveh, which most of you will recall, the city that's important in the story of Jonah. And Nineveh, which repented at the preaching of the prophet Jonah, and thereby turned aside a punishment already decreed, that Scripture itself says. And the men of Nineveh believed in God, and they proclaimed a fast, and they put on sackcloth. You'll find that in Jonah chapter 3, verse 5. And you know, the thing is, I sometimes wonder if this age isn't like Jonah hammering at the door of our Nineveh today. So that Eastern feast is not the same liturgical institution as the Roman Rogation Day. The two arose independently, different rites and so forth, but they kind of rhyme, East and West. And I thought you might find that a neat story, that God seems to have willed this kind of observance in both East and West. The ancient church kept arriving at sort of this conclusion on its own. When the created order seems to turn against you, the right liturgical response is public, embodied, communal penance, not a celebration of recycling, which apparently they want to do today. So we're also going to bring this story to English soil for a moment. And in England, the Rogation Days were called gang days, from the Old English word for to go, and cross week because the procession carried the cross ahead of it through the town and fields. King Alfred's law treated a theft committed on a Rogation Day as gravely as one committed on a Sunday. Yes, the penalties for theft were different on a Sunday and a regular weekday. And it wasn't really just a matter of liturgical interest. This is a legal system built by a Christian king who treated these ordinary spring weekdays as functionally sacred, on par with the Lord's Day itself, because the whole town understood what this procession was doing for them. And the custom didn't vanish quietly. The first time reformers turned hostile to it. The history shows that Protestant ministers in England were still railing against rogation processions as late as 1571, the 13th year of Elizabeth's reign, decades into the Revolution or Reformation, depending on your perspective. It took real, sustained doctrinal hostility, an entire theological revolution, to finally choke it out of English practice. In 1969, we had reform of the liturgical calendar, issued under Paul VI. He did not abolish the Rogation Days, believe it or not. The document, the Universal Norms in the Liturgical Year, actually says in its own text that on Rogation and Ember Days, the Church is accustomed to entreat the Lord for the various needs of humanity, and it directs that these days continue. But then comes the mechanism that killed them. And I bet you some of you guess. It was the bishops' conferences, which, as you know, most traditionals can't stand bishops' conferences for good reason. And so what happened was, when they turned it over to the conferences, basically these things just sort of disappeared in most countries. And most Catholics grew up never even knowing what a rogation procession was. And of course, it seemed to have more significance in rural areas where there's actually fields to bless. Often the rogation mass set in a local parish in an urban setting, you know, you're not processing outside blessing fields, but some do a procession around the church, and some just say the mass. But anyway, no, my point is, no one signed an order abolishing the Rogation Days, and no one had to. They just let it sort of die from neglect. And so, unfortunately, that's how a lot of things go in the postmodern era of Christianity. So anyway, one of the things I wanted to bring up is this massive care of creation, and actually, it's not as bad as maybe a lot of us would expect. there's a lot of weird, flaky things going on lately. Last week we mentioned about how there was a dirt altar and Pachamamas and Vatican officials presiding over this on a visit. And so when we heard that there was a mass for the care of creation, your mind just goes to what kind of crazy are they unleashing? Technically it wasn't the actual construction of the liturgy is for the Novus Ordo. I mean, obviously traditionals aren't keen on the Novus Ordo, but there wasn't anything overtly crazy like the Pachamama or Earth altar. So that's good news. And but we have lost something, because the old Rogation Days fixed unmovable dates on the universal calendar that sort of aligned with nature. April 25th, 3 days before Ascension. It was known to every farmer, whether you could read or not, or it was just part of the communal culture, especially a rural culture. And so the thing I want to leave you with is that the whole purpose is that this is structured around a collective repentance for sin. When you look at St. Vincent Ferrier or Ferrar, depending on how you pronounce it, when you look at his penitential movement, that times of crisis in the church are faced with a call for prayer and penance. And that's really what we want to see folks return to today. If the Great Plague of 2020 didn't teach us something, it should have taught us that that was definitely a call to penance. So, so what are the new rules for this Mass of Creation? Well, it's sort of optional, and Novus Ordo votive rules, celebrated on whatever weekday a priest happens to choose, provided there's not a more important feast day on the calendar. So basically, they can do it whenever. And again, I have no problem with stewardship for the environment. I mean, we should be stewards of our creation, but after that, like a couple of weeks ago, they had that Pachamama and those dirt altars. It's just crazy. And in that context, your mind tends to the horrific. So, Felix, have you ever heard about this thing, the Mass of Creation?
I haven't heard about that Mass, but I've heard about like the precursor, right? The commandments, what was it? The additional commandments that Francis did on Earth Day or something like that.
I know what you mean. Do you guys remember Francis made like a new set of 10 commandments for the earth? You can't make this stuff up.
The absolute cheek, how the British like to say.
God love them.
Let me just make 10 new commandments.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I got to be more respectful when I say that. And I know obviously it's me and you talking or whatever, and it's just us over coffee and beer or whatnot. But I guess I should have some deference to the seat. But again, hearing that, it's it hurts. I don't know. I mean, as a normie, we wrestle with that, because it's like, okay, am I being closed-minded? Is the Lord really speaking to them, and I'm just being a jerk? Or is this is like a really big struggle? Now, deep down inside, I know the truth. You know what I mean? At least I feel like I do. I feel like it's a whole bunch of baloney. And I don't know. To not risk babbling any further, that's kind of where I'm at whenever I see this stuff.
From my point, the church should be a leader, right? So it shouldn't be a follower. Yeah. And my concern is that a lot of this environmental stuff is sort of, again, I don't take me the wrong way. I'm all for stewarding God's creation. I have a particular interest in ocean health. I hate to see and hear about plastics and stuff being dumped in the ocean and the like. But the problem is that a lot of this climate stuff, like the Al Gore stuff, it tends to a fad. And unfortunately, the modern churches are all behind, this World Economic Forum and the UN's 2030 agenda. Well, so, Father, for those of you who aren't familiar, look up that agenda. That's very interesting to see why the church would be behind that.
With respect, Father, with respect, okay? Yep. I think we do need to listen to what Al Gore says, especially if you watch the Inconvenient Truth. If we're not careful, we're going to be underwater in Florida in the not too distant future of 2019.
I thought we were underwater already. Didn't Al say we were underwater already?
I was going to say, I was like, in the not too distant future of 2016, we might be like 3 feet underwater.
I'll open up my window and say, Felix, I can see polar bears from my window.
You know, he had the gall to make a sequel to that too, like a more inconvenient truth. It was like a lame title to that too, and this is like, well, there were massive floods. I'm like, yeah, thanks, Al Gore. We appreciate that. You know, and I believed it at the time, so I shouldn't even, you know, like I laugh now, but I believed it when it came out.
Well, you know, I will say totally tangential here, but Florida is like we're on. Like, there's all these sinkholes because it's apparently a limestone basis for the whole state of Florida. Is basically this flat slab of limestone. If we have any geologists online here, you can fact check me, but that's my understanding, and it is kind of weird. Just geologically, the whole state of Florida is not, you know, maybe not the most sturdy of zones on the planet.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I mean, the absolute.
Like, we don't have basements, Felix. There's no basements in Florida.
Right, because of that. And you know, it's funny because like in nearby, we were looking at something was like the ground underneath was giving way, and like this little hole started turning into a big hole. But luckily, I guess, you know, for now, it was just a pothole.
Are you talking about your place?
Yeah. But this was months ago. It doesn't. But
we had parishioners. They lost their whole house. Ruth and Jim lost their whole house.
Oh, God bless them. No way.
Sea Pines or whatever, and yeah, their whole house went into the sinkhole, and I don't think their insurance covered it.
Oh, go figure. At least they paid all that money to them.
Yeah, that's the darker side of Florida living. I love Florida, but I don't love sinkholes.
Oh man, you know, the fact that insurance didn't pay for it just that just really ruffles my feathers.
I know, it's such a surprise, right? I actually had a house that had that I didn't get the insurance payout. The adjuster came and he said, "Oh yeah, they're going to pay you X amount," and I got like a tenth of that. And then they said, "Well, just sue us if you don't like it." And it was funny because it was the fire. There was a fire next door. And it was in Canada, and it was in the winter. And so the thing is, they put out the fire. It looked like a big mushroom cloud. They put out the fire, but in order to keep it from spreading, they sprayed the side of my house. And, you know, and that was fine until the thaw came, and then all that water came into the house. Yeah, ruined everything. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, but I mean, like, so I kind of get like the don't pollute, give a hoot, don't pollute. I remember that from the 1980s. Remember that? Give a hoot, don't pollute. I think that was such a beautiful message, simple.
Yeah, I agree. And there was some cartoons about, you know, the litterers and the kids cleaning up after the litter bugs.
I think that was beautiful. And that was peak.
I agree.
Such a, you know, and then again, oil spilling in the water. Yes, I understand. You know, the ozone layer. I mean, you know, people still believe in the ozone layer, which turns
didn't that get fixed?
Yeah, well, yeah. That's because
they stopped putting CFCs in the aerosols or something.
Yeah. Less farting cows. I think, I don't know. They got like 10 less farting cows, and then
we almost lost Guinness there. That wouldn't have been good.
That would have been bad. Yeah, but unbelievable. Yeah. But I just, this is like you know, are we reading too far into this, Father? Is it maybe like, yeah, you know, stewardship of the planet, but it's almost, it feels like they're doing Mother Earth stuff.
Yeah. So the thing is, that's why I said it was a bit of a surprise that it wasn't crazier than it was. Right. But the thing is, I kind of joked on Twitter. Most of you know I'm a bit of a turkey. And I couldn't help myself. And so on Twitter, I said, "What's next? Are they going to do an open borders mass too?" I mean, it's just kind of it's kind of cliche, right? Yeah. But that said, I mean, how can you growl about? I don't know. I just think Rogation Days were a better way to honor nature, and also to put into context the idea that we should, when we plead to God for stuff, we should have a penitential attitude.
Yeah. And I think we've had this conversation before, but it almost feels like, I think you said it was like the next president should or pope. I think it was like the next pope. This is while we were waiting for Leo's announcement, I guess. It was like needs to call for an age of repentance or a year of repentance. You know, well,
I see it all. I love the story of Jonah, and if you guys haven't read the book of Jonah, there's your spiritual homework before next live stream, because it's one of the shortest books in the Bible, and it's just a short story, but it's such a beautiful story because it's a story of hope. Like Nineveh was just not a place that looked like there was any hope for it, and the people repented, and God blessed it. So that's kind of like our civilization right now. We need to turn back to God.
And I can see that possibility because, like, maybe this is the white pill, but I do see people snapping out of it. But even the people who haven't snapped out of it yet, sometimes you just see the spark, the potential spark, so that definitely gives me hope. And you know what's even better about the story of Jonah is that now all of a sudden the story of being swallowed by a whale or a fish isn't crazy anymore. Like, again, when we were growing up as a kid, like that was that was like one of the points that they would tell me why the Bible was fake was the story of Jonah, right? It just, again, another thing that's been proven. In fact, there was like a couple cases of people trapped in whale stomachs.
Fish. Yeah. Well, I love that story too, because Jonah was a reluctant prophet, and you can imagine he was vomited on the beach, and imagine it'd be how slimy and everything that would be, and you'd be just imagine like, Lord, really, okay, fine, I'm going to preach to Nineveh, So it was kind of funny. So it's a good story for those of you who are reluctant prophets to read the book of Jonah.
And also, if I'm wrong, of course, this is why I can spew this out now, because you can correct me right away. This is like a type of resurrection, right? Like or a foreshadowing of the resurrection, all right, being swallowed by the whale.
So there's a couple. What I love about Scripture and typology, our friend Father LaFour is like an expert in that. But there's certainly the typology. What we mean is that the New Testament is prefigured in the Old, and the Old is fulfilled in the New. And so there is that prefigurement of the 3 days in the tomb versus the belly of the whale. But the other one I want you to think about, remember our Lord said one day, people were saying, I'll follow you if you do some miracles. And he said, you wicked generation, always looking for signs. The sign you'll receive is a sign of Jonah. The only sign you'll receive is a sign of Jonah. So what did he mean by that? So he didn't just mean, he did mean, the 3 days he'll rise, but also, there's this notion, again, attached to repentance, right? So the sign of Jonah was also a call to repentance, which someone could accept or reject.
And then what happened in AD 70? right? What happened in AD 70? So that is actually really intense. It was like they got the sign of Jonah, but they rejected the sign of Jonah.
Yeah,
they rejected the warning of Jonah. I guess, like, in the current sense, when Jesus was like that. That's pretty insane. Would you like to go through some comments so we don't get backtracked? Some comments. So first and foremost, go team.
Dale, go Dale.
Go Dale. Go Dale, go team. By Father Hagen, good to see you. Diapason, or do you know who that is? I don't. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it. Bagpipes are cool. I gotta say, actually, I love those intro pipes.
Oh, you do? We had complaints. Remember, White Wolf didn't like them that much.
Oh, well, I dug them.
But White Wolf's really often grumpy, and I tease him about it. But the thing is that we put that on before the show's not supposed to start till 9. So I run that with some Catholic trivia there, and I just run that before. And why? It's just so that when people are flipping through YouTube, they see that a live stream's coming. So I just stole that idea of like a couple of the news shows that go live, and they have this lengthy period of a countdown. But I just put a loop of the actually that building that you see in the with the bagpipes playing. That's our seminary. So it's just cool. Taking a picture of the clouds going by the cross. So but anyway, So I just play that to sort of a pre-warning that the show is going to start, and I could put anything in there, but I thought I'd leave the Highland War Horns.
Okay. So Slick Mechanical says the only green part of the mass should be the vestments and Sundays after Pentecost. Change my mind.
Yeah, you won't find anybody here disagreeing with or changing your mind. We agree.
Yeah, right. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
there's some
Even
really
with-
weird things people do, like put weird plants on the altar and stuff. Like, anyway.
I mean, even recycling turned out to be a big joke. All right,
Yep.
now again, listen, I was a big degenerate as a young, and you know, I say that half joking, half serious. I was in jail, right? And I remember when there was the outsource of work, and they put me to minimum security, and I could actually leave to go work at the recycling plant. And I
Right.
just saw taking all the stuff. We were just basically picking through all the recycling to throw it in the garbage. It's essentially,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I'm just like,
It's
what
it's what we
is
call
this?
virtue signaling instead of virtue, right?
Oh,
So here's the
man.
thing. Here's the funny one. So in the Navy, what would happen is we'd pull up if it was an Asian port, and they'd have this huge budget for processing gray water and black water. And so the thing was, for those of you who don't know, gray water is like your washing water, and black water is your sewage. So you'd pull in and you'd pay like a couple $100,000 in environmental processing fee to deal with all this nastiness in an environmental friendly way. And all they did is they pull up a barge, they pump it off the ship, and they just pump it over the side. But you hired the green company, right? So it's all,
it's all
guys,
smoke and mirrors.
there's so much
Yeah.
grift, there's so much scam and this stuff, and it just breaks my heart because I'm the kind of person, like, you know, I remember even when I was in the Navy, I'd be in uniform and I'd be filling my car up with gas, the self-serve, and then I saw someone like throw a drink container on the floor, and I'd pick it up and I'd say, "Sorry, ma'am, I think you dropped this."
Yeah,
I
right.
have no problem doing that. It's
Unbelievable.
like, yeah,
Oh,
it's
Now, and from what I heard, like people always like glorify like the 40s and the 50s and stuff like that, which even I do too. Even though I wasn't alive in that time, I'm like, okay, but
Yep.
like I've heard even comments that be like, man, we used to be on a highway and we just throw anything just out the window while we're driving. Like the kids just throw anything out the window while they were driving. It was like, so people back in the day did have like some really bad habits. Like, you know, that's why, again, you know, to tie that back into the don't pollute stuff was the most common sense.
Yep.
Easiest one to remember, like easiest one to get everyone on board. And then they just
For
kept
sure.
pushing and kept pushing with more. Don't use hairspray.
well, there's
It's like,
balance.
no.
You know, they had a regulation. You weren't allowed to pour a bottle of water over the ship. It might contaminate the fish.
Do you believe that?
I know.
Yeah. Dumb rules.
And they got rid
All right.
of the old-fashioned way men used to stand watch there on the bridge wing.
Oh,
We weren't
yeah.
allowed to pollute the fish without that either.
Oh, yeah, right.
Of course,
It's like daycare.
mixed crews, sort of that old tradition out. There's Norm.
Yeah, right. There's Norm. A great big hello to everyone from Eileen and I. We look forward to a great climate of positive conversation. Blessings all. Sorry to disappoint you so far.
Well, Norm, we actually were pretty positive. We talked about Rogation Days. I didn't make fun of Leo at all today. Not really.
Not yet. No.
So not yet. Not until one of you
Nice,
inspired
young.
me, but I was pretty good. But
Yeah.
no, but there was something I was going to tell you. Oh, you know, Canada's having a real problem, and maybe some parts of the U.S. with certain newcomers who come from a culture where you're just allowed to litter everywhere. And there's a whole bunch of these viral videos of like ordinary people like you and me driving around, and then they see somebody stop their car in the woods or one of these national parks and take out garbage and dump them in the lake and stuff, right? So people are sort of doing not citizen arrest per se, but they're documenting it and reporting them and making these people clean up their trash. So it's you know, some of them sound like crazy Karens, but I'm glad they are in this case.
Yeah. That's because that's not a crazy Karen. A crazy Karen situation would be like somebody who is having a beer next to the lake, and
Right.
that's it. Sets their beer down to walk away, but it's still, you know what I mean. And then the Karen comes to complain.
Oh yeah. No, but
Someone-
what I'm saying is, I said they're like I didn't mean
They're
that it was a
dumping
Karen-like
trash.
situation, but the
Oh.
people critiquing
Yeah.
were like Karens.
Yeah, no,
You
for
know, the
sure.
shrieking and the anyway,
Oh.
but that's yeah.
Barbecue Becky's. If you remember them. But yeah, I agree with you. Like that needs to happen, and of course, the immigrants from Somalia are kind of like the worst offenders of this. Like from what I understand, if you look in Minnesota, they're literally making like garbage towns, which for
There's a
some
whole
odd
bunch of
reason
countries. It's just a different
resembles Somalia.
relationship. Yep.
Yeah.
There was a tweet by Hillary White, who's sort of famous in traditional circles on Twitter, and yeah, she was showing a video of that, just people how they transformed a town into basically a junkyard. because that's how they're used to it where they came from.
Unbelievable. And it's just,
hey, diversity is our strength, Felix.
Diversity is our strength. Amen.
There you go.
Let's see. Father Hager says, I have heard of it. And honestly, I find it hilarious that people thought it wasn't going to happen. I think with the Green Mass. This was sent around. I wonder
what we were talking about. When did Archbishop say that? Do you know what
15 minutes ago.
Monsignor, remind us what we were talking about. See, this is the only downside of
that's what I'm trying to say on top of it. But yeah, even at 15 minutes and we were lost. We'll come back to that.
Know what we're going on about.
Leroy says, according to LifeSite News, the Pachapapa thing last week was part of conference on LGBTQ plus welcoming in the church. Wait, can you tie this in?
I saw that. You know what? I didn't know that when we did the show on it. But yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Wait, can you expand on it?
Some of you are into history. Do you agree with me that this is sort of reminds you of the Cathars a little bit, like in the sense that they're like anti-child, and they don't focus on, like, you know, it's almost like they're a spirit trapped in their body or something. They think that they're like it's just a very unchristian way of looking at the world. And it's just too bad. And they're really normalizing the hedonism, right? So, I mean, to me, I don't understand why the hatred for people, or why do you hate people so much that you don't encourage them to be holy, right? Holiness is not some sort of burden that's horrible. I mean, our Lord said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, for a reason, right? Really, even secular people following traditional Catholic morality will be happier in their lives, a lot happier. Yeah. So, you know, and people like Scott Adams and Jordan Peterson, they were not normative Christians at all, but they seem to acknowledge that the Christian social order, that people would generally find happiness in it. I mean, I suppose like something like Stoicism would approach that kind of natural law of virtue as well. But what I'm getting at is Christianity works even for seculars of goodwill. The only people that Christianity doesn't work for are these postmodern leftists. They shriek, and these stone cutters and these various other kinds of iterations of old hatreds. But I mean, most just decent people, even if they're not churched, they don't mind a Christian social order. They're not offended at a Christmas tree or an Angelus bell. But you'd rather an Angelus bell than having your traffic obstructed with 100 people making noises like strangled squirrels.
Yeah. So Father Haga did respond and said it was a green mass. That's what he knows. I heard of it. Honestly, I find it hilarious that people thought it wasn't going to happen. Same here. They're clearly going to go through with this.
Well, you know, every once in a while they throw you a little bit of a curveball that they're not as nutter as you think they're going to be. Like I was expecting cactus and, you know,
something.
Here's the holy aloe plant with, you know, just craziness. But they didn't go that complete crazy.
You know, but sometimes they almost do that on purpose, right? Where they try to stir up a conspiracy charge or claim or something only to, to kind of circumvent it by doing this, like you said, watered down or tamer version of the mass than what you were expecting.
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, all you have to do to dress up this mass to make it more crazy is use a dirt altar. They have them in a number of churches. I mean, I never even realized this was a thing. If you Google the image, you should. There's a church in Germany, great big mound. It looks like an elephant went to the washroom, and that's what they use as an altar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, so wait, what is this Pachapapa thing that was part of the conference on the LGBT? What exactly was this?
So remember we did the episode there a little while ago about how they were a Vatican official was offering a sacrifice to the Pachamama.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that vaguely, but what was the sacrifice that was being offered?
Jeepers! It was some sort of cocoa leaf or something.
That's right. Okay, it was a cocoa leaf. Yes.
And anyway. Yeah, it's funny. It's all one great big long day. Actually, folks, you know, it's kind of funny. Like maybe some of you feel that way. If you do, put it in the chat. As I get older, I find that it's just like it's one great big long day. I'm always running around, so it's funny. I don't remember what day I read something or that kind of thing. I just know it was a little while
Yeah,
ago.
God
But
does.
anyway, no, but it fits right well. I mean, they all they go like there's a couple themes that they're always going to go for, right? The postmoderns, they have this earth worship stuff, so they got the pacha. Then they got the of course the hedonism. So there's all the alphabet stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the open border stuff. Up until recently, they were making big bucks on that.
Yeah, right. Now, and I was just gonna say, you know, like nothing pleases God more than Cain's sacrifice, right? What was Cain's sacrifice? A bunch of greenery, right? Am I crazy? Like,
well,
did they think this out? Or like, I think they did think this. And this is when I get upset. I do think they think this out, and they decide to do it.
What they did? What, sorry?
Like, for example, again, if someone's offering a leaf, that's almost like, again, that just reminds me of Cain's sacrifice offering to God.
I thought he had meat offering. I'll have to look it up.
No. I thought Abel offered meat.
Oh, okay.
And
well,
Cain
I
Cain
should know
offered,
that, guys. I should know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah. Cain offered
I
his
go on
crops.
I go on all the time about the difference between the acceptance of Cain and Abel's, but I focus on that Abel
One sacrifice
offered
was
his
accepted,
best, whereas Cain's offering was grudgingly.
Maybe I'm getting a wrong version of it because remember, I'm coming from Lutheran, all this stuff.
We can look it up.
I was taught that he offered his crops, and that was that wasn't, that wasn't pleasing to God because Abel sacrificed a lamb, right?
Here we go. Hang on. Where am I?
So I'll probably get roasted in the comments for getting this wrong.
I think I'm
almost
right,
positive.
Felix. But
okay. No, good. Again, this is why I'm glad I say this here. So this way, and you want to know where I learned that originally? I can even tell you. It was from a Jehovah's Witness book when I was a kid.
Oh dear.
When I was a little kid.
You actually had a story about them before. Like it was someone in your family that listened to that?
Yeah. My mom, she
wasn't. You're right, Felix. I'm wrong. Okay, so here it is. So Abel brought the first and best, the first things in the fat thereof. And Cain's offering is generically of the fruit of the ground, but the Lord looked on favor with Abel and on his but not on Cain. And it doesn't give an explicit reason, but the one we normally go on is that that Cain didn't really give his best. Is normally what people interpret that, but there's some differences.
Yeah, and how I've heard it taught, and again, it's like that he was saying that sacrifice requires blood, and he found, Abel's pleasing. It didn't say specifically it was a lamb that was offered up, right? Yep.
No, it doesn't say.
No, it doesn't.
It just says
he offered his best of his herd or whatnot.
He was a keeper. He brought the firstlings of the flock and their fat portions.
Oh, so that would it
is sheep.
Okay. Yep. Man, hey, I'm kind of
but in fairness with it, if you're a tiller of the earth, it's not like you have sheep to offer. Yeah, no,
you're 100% right, but you are. I think your point obviously still stands. It's just a detail that it was crops.
I just had a brain fart, as they say today.
Oh, yeah. Why? Oh, over this?
Yeah, I had a long day. I'm not complaining, but I'm probably not firing on all cylinders today. I hope the monologue wasn't too crazy because I was like, oh my goodness, I can't cancel it on you guys because I'd miss you. So I did it, but I'll tell you, if I could have gotten away with it, I think I would have went to nap.
Oh yeah, hear that? Let me see. This is crazy. Father Haga says, I saw a guy get swallowed by a humpback whale in a kayak. I determined that day to never kayak around whales. Yeah.
In person or on video?
I know,
right?
I
was wondering, did you see this in person or on video?
Oh, there's a movie coming out. Not a sponsor of the show, but I think it's called Whale Fall.
Yeah.
And it's about that. It's a guy goes into the water, he gets swallowed by a sperm whale. And I think it's in real time. Like, you know what I mean? It's him in 2 hours trying to get out.
Well, a sperm whale makes a little more sense because they're carnivores. But my understanding is, you guys can correct me. I'm already getting a bunch of stuff wrong today. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure a humpback is a plankton eater.
Yeah, so humpback. They have baleen, right? So and sperm whales have like I think straight up teeth. Teeth. And again, I could be wrong. Yeah, and yeah, they teeth. Are. That's right, and they are, and like Moby Dick, right? They can get aggressive. Right. Same thing with like killer whales.
Oh yeah, the killer whales are going nuts around Spain. Yeah. Everybody's trying to blame 5G for it.
Yeah, right. Leroy says it's all part of what Frank Wright calls a state religion.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's become, see, the thing is, and the reason why all the mainstream churches have gone so environmental crazy is that it's the common ground. Like everybody can agree you shouldn't litter and you should have clean air, right? So it doesn't matter. I mean, even the Satanists agree with that.
Diapason.
Yeah, that makes sense. Good. You could forgive us for saying dia. But yeah,
diapason. Thank you so much for that.
See, my last name is one of those weird ones. Like it's not pronounced as it's spelt. So I do have some empathy for those who there you go.
Organ pipe.
I didn't know. Okay, a little secret. I guess I don't know if you'd call it a dog whistle in this case, but yeah, for the musically inclined, awesome.
Yeah, right. Norm says I've become a little jaded and just questions the sincerity of all this. Is it mostly for show or self-promotion? Look how good we are. Or pushing a political agenda. Is that too cynical on my part?
Ooh, no, I think you're right on. I think, but the thing is, there's still like, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Is it wrong to pray to, to be good stewards of the environment? No, but no. I mean, it's we want to be people of virtue versus signal of virtue, right? So I
agree.
That's my kind of concern. Like I'll hear people go on about their idea of clean air is like this giant multi-billion-dollar facility to suck carbon out of the air. Well, guess what? Plants happen to like carbon dioxide, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of it's a very complicated. It's a complicated thing. Like they've done well. I mean, crop yields have been better with the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. But see, these environmentalists, they want to, there's some of them, they're very Malthusian. They actually want us all gone as they sit in their bunker. And, you sound a little tinfoil hat, but they certainly seem to be wanting to do that.
No. Bill Gates gets awards for lowering the population or for at least putting forth ideas to lower the population. Yeah. And so it's like these people who are with that is like, they think that their Bill Gates overlords are going to be like, you're one of the good ones. You can stay with us. No, that's not how it's going to work. They want the population at around 500,000 or less or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, or 5 million or less.
Yeah, I heard it was like 12 million or something, but same deal. I mean, when you're talking about the scale of billions to reducing that much.
Guys, yeah, and they're thinking that by doing that, they're going to get this whole earth to themselves, and it'll be like, yeah, okay.
No. I keep joking. Somebody'll take a tinkle down their vents or something and give them all crazy disease. They'll end up,
right.
You can't out-weasel. You can't weasel God, right?
Yeah. Now,
so if you try to destroy everybody and just try to save yourself, your eternity isn't going to be that great.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. Now, I guess what Norm's saying, that I don't know. Is it to push a political agenda? I think a lot of these people are kind of true believers in themselves, and I think they're just selfish and just kind of whatever, it just happens to fit in with the political agenda. There's a lot of with what we're looking at, there's a lot of back patting and worse. All right. Now I'll let you guys have, going on among these circles, but it's I think almost that the political promotion and all that stuff is almost like a byproduct.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say like how much of it's just like a little cover and how much of it's just like its own weird religion of itself.
Father Haga says, as a smoker, I'm very conscious of my cigarette butts. Hello, fellow smoker, Father Haga. I'll keep them in my pocket until I come across a trash can. I'm usually like that myself.
There you go.
But yeah, even that, listen, I mean, it's one thing to throw a cigarette butt out the window, whatever, of your car. Shame on you, sure, okay. I'm not saying that's the best thing ever, but I can't. When I would say, I would hear story like they'll throw their whole McDonald's stuff out the window, just out the window when they're done. Just So
I was on Highway 19 a week ago, and somebody threw, I don't know what it was, but it was like a bag of something.
Like, just wow.
I get angry at that stuff. You want to talk about, that could hurt somebody, or can you imagine if you're a motorcyclist and you ran over that, or
Yeah, that could go a lot worse. The Wi-Fi password people have taken over the church at this point. I quit watching news related because I already know it's bad.
Yeah. Speaking of Wi-Fi password, boy, have I got a story for you guys. So my parish website last night at around 10:30 got hacked. So I got our buddy Melvin working on it, but guess what? Apparently I was advertising. What was I advertising? Dutch casinos.
Well, thank God. All right.
Yeah, it could have been worse, right?
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been women's basketball accessories or something.
Oh, I know, right?
It was Dutch casinos.
Dutch casinos. You know what? I'd allow it. No, I'm just kidding. But wow.
I mean, it's kind of funny given the history of, old Roman Catholics, right? That was Dutch casinos. But I'm sure that was just a coincidence.
The cocoa leaves that they make, not cocoa leaves.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Cocoa leaves. Oh, man.
No wonder they think they're saying it's part of their religion.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That is next level.
It's pretty crazy.
I mean, that's kind of a big deal, Father.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't make this stuff up anymore, Felix.
I thought it was.
I try to see the good in people, and I kind of agree with you. I tend on the white pill side too. I see a lot of signs of hope, and but again, we'll see. I mean, we know at the end that it's all going to go kaplooey, right? That's we know. But I'm of the school of thought that there's going to be an era of grace before that final. And if I'm wrong, well, I'm wrong.
Yeah, then I guess we're there quicker.
Be too busy dealing with the hardship to be worrying about telling Mikkel I told you so.
Prepping for martyrdom. Jeez, yeah, right. God forbid. Let me see. Leroy says the Cathars were a variant of Gnosticism, and yes, modernism, being the synthesis of all heresies, has elements of Gnosticism in it.
I just see this anti-child thing. And some of it's lower brain, like I don't know if people understand, but there's this real hatred of children amongst a significant segment of population.
Yeah, right.
And it's kind of weird, and that's where I get the Cathar thing. When I look at all this hedonism, it's craziness.
I think of the Amalekites because the Amalekites were like ball worshippers, and that was like where they would put the baby on the statue's hands. And the statue's hands were like burning hot, whatever, something like that. And it was just like it. And I won't go further, but it's.
I don't want to go. I almost addressed that very We're not going down there today, folks. But that tragic situation with the mom and her 3 kids and stuff. But it was just too dark. And I'm talking you want to talk about the devil's being loose, right? And then there's copycats. There's all these mothers that are starting to do it. So it's It's pretty
demonic.
Crazy. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you not, and again, like there's a discussion there that I think actually has validity in it, which is what these medicines, and I say this in quotes, this medicines are doing to these people, as like, I think a life of sin and degeneracy also obviously plays a part in it. But there's 100%, there's a sect in there that are getting their chemicals, their brain mechanics messed up. I don't even want to say chemicals, but they're getting their brain function messed up from these medications that are saying
some of you guys
them.
You need medication, you need blood pressure, you need insulin, you need I get it, right? So I'm not, when 100%. I say this, I'm not anti-science, I'm not anti medication. But as much as possible, I don't want to take any medication I need to take beyond, say, 6 weeks. Right.
Yeah.
So as a rule of thumb, like if I was given a choice, okay, you've got to do this amount of exercise or you can take this pill, I'm going to do the exercise,
You have
even
to
though
do
I
the
can be lazy.
exercise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want chemicals that I'm dependent on. And what happens if we have, a supply chain issue or whatever, and you're dependent on this medication, then it just shuts off. Right. So I kind of avoid it. And as much natural I can do. Like, I'm not one of these hippie people or granola people, but I mean, I will say, I prefer things without preservatives, and things that I know where it came from. And I know Monsignor Haygood's into, there you go, Cain offered vegetables and Abel firstborn of his flock.
Mm.
So, Monsignor there has attends to a farmer's market and stuff, and so that's pretty neat. I've always admired it. The only plants I didn't kill are cactus and green peppers. Go figure.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Oh, a jade plant. I had a jade plant once. I had one in university.
I grew tomatoes. I grew peppers.
Yeah.
I grew basil. I think those are the three that I remembered. Yeah, that was able to do. And and I've seen the memes too, because it's funny. It's like in a way, like, oh, this is important stuff to know. And it was like me waiting for the zombie apocalypse so I can feed 3 tomatoes to my family.
Yeah.
From my own personal garden. But
well, I mean, it was kind of funny too, because once I had a parishioner say, and she saw I had this area that you could turn into a garden. She said, "Oh, you should put this in the garden." And we're in the city, right? So it's like, you realize how long that garden would last if we put it there. I'd have people jumping over the fence and stealing stuff, and it's just like, no. As much as I'd like to, there's certain advantage of living in rural areas.
Yeah, right. No, man. Yeah, bad joke. I was like, the only thing missing from Cain's offering was cocaine, apparently.
Oh dear.
Right.
Wah, wah, wah.
Right. Father Hagen said it was a video. The whale was coming out of the water to get a gulp and swallow the kayak or two. So it wasn't even on purpose.
No,
it wasn't even on purpose. And I believe that, it's, what are you going to do? Leroy says maintain humanity under 500 million. Thank you for that correction. And perpetual balance.
Those guide stones. That's right.
That were beautifully blown up.
Yeah.
Let me see. Slick Mechanical says, have you heard of this? November's Congress on Noahide laws. Yeah, we talked about this. The tiny hat people are holding. That's a rabbit hole you'd be interested in.
Yeah, that's actually, maybe we should.
What do you know so far? Because I did a little bit of a dive myself on this.
I don't know much at all. I mean, I just other than it is something that you come across so much, right? And the thing is too, it's like I got to be in the right mood to explore certain things, right?
Oh yeah. And
I try to balance my info consumption and my research to sort of even it out so that I don't end up too discouraged.
So, okay, and I'm going to get a lot of this wrong. So Slick, maybe correct me as I go.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, like the Jewish lobby or Israeli lobby has been like kind of pushing this concept of like the Noahide laws. All right. And it's laws before Moses, right? And it's kind of saying that Gentiles who follow Noahide laws are okay with the Jews. Like the Jews love them. If you follow Noahide laws, you're good. But one of those laws are like, thou shalt not worship fake idols, or whatever. It's the commandment, thou shalt not worship fallen idols. But the Jewish people consider Jesus to be false idol. So right. You could be anything except a Christian, essentially.
There's definitely a movement towards this new world era, religion. And I hate to say it, but it does look like all the big churches are in on it. It looks it, right?
Yeah, it's getting pretty out there. But this is something that they've been pushing for a while. It's just never had a name to it. Like people have been saying this before I've heard the term Noahide laws. I remember just ever since I was a kid. But it's coexist. It literally coexist.
I'm of the Crusader Saint James Matamoros school, so I'm not I'd rather go full Cristero than accommodate other groups. But that's
I
me.
gotta find this.
That's not all you guys.
Someone took the coexist sticker and changed it, and instead of saying coexist, it says convert, and it's all like cross. It's all crosses.
I love it.
I was like,
That's
yes.
exactly what we want to see. Well, I mean, this is why I say, guys, in the old days, Catholics' adversaries used to be Protestants, right? It's not so simple anymore. There's actually some Protestants that actually believe as we do.
Yeah, and like you said, Martin Luther was more of a Catholic than many modern Catholics today.
Than modern Catholics, like more than Tucho Fernandez or a lot of the cardinals. So don't get me wrong. I'm not, as a Catholic guy, I'm not defending Luther, but I'm just saying, like, this is how bad it is, right? Like when people, I get a kick at it because some Catholics are very snooty with Protestants, right? And they're like, oh, well, he's not a Lutheran or whatever. It's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Luther would never bow to a Pachamama, as bad as he is from a Catholic perspective. He wouldn't deny the miracle of the loaves and he wouldn't deny the miracle of the loaves and the fishes like two popes have.
Right, so, and he didn't deny Mary either, right?
No.
This is just insane.
Yep.
All right. So Father Hagel says, I grow over 50 different lettuces alone. I believe the correct plural is lettucei. No, I'm just kidding. It's lettuces.
You know what? If you gave Felix a list of those lettuces, he could put it in a Suno and make a pretty cool musical thing.
That's right.
It's true, actually. Right. It'd actually be funny. You should do it for April Fools or something. Do the song of 50. You could do it like a riff off Paul Simon instead of 50 ways to leave your lover or 50 lettuces or something. You know?
Yeah, right. Lettuce in, it's cold. 50. I don't know. All right. I would.
Why did they let me out, chat? I don't know. I should have had my nap. You let me go to bed. No.
No, let me see.
Not a professional outfit. We gotta have a button for that. We got the cat. Like, you can, if you want to put the cat walking for the comment, Felix, you can once in a while. But we've gotta get a button that reminds everybody we're not a professional outfit.
Oh yeah, that's right. The closest one I have, and I'm not even prepared for it, but.
The cat's behind the comments.
Are you professional or not?
All right.
Yeah, right. That's the only one I got.
Felix, my cat's behind Monsignor.
He's behind the sign. I know. Can we?
Yeah, you get turned off. I gotta
get back to the comments.
All right, hang on.
There you go. There he is.
There's the cat. Like, subscribe.
And if you don't subscribe,
Hype like you get an indulgence for it. Just joking.
Yeah, right.
I'm just joking. See, I'm going to get people mad at me. I'm not taking things seriously.
Yeah, right. Like, scientifically proven to remove time off purgatory. Can we? We cannot claim that, right?
No, we cannot.
No. Father Haga says, "I'm Market Farm. We're up in Lake City." Oh man, awesome. That's so cool.
So,
I can't get links, Slick.
We don't see actually, it. Slick, if you wanna email us the link,
please. Yeah, and we'll do a bigger, deeper dive. I would
absolutely
really like to do something on this.
So the email, well, you can message me through Substack, or you can use Mikkel@careglow.com or .org. Sorry, and what else? Or me on Twitter. Those are I think you can, even on YouTube, you go to user and it says reveal email. My email will be there too, so you can use that. But if you send me the link, and just say, if your email is something like, Bill Edwards at whatever, say, hey, this is Slick, and this is the link I had for you.
Yeah, I definitely want that link, Slick. So stick around. Make sure that we get your contacts on whatever. We'll work it out. But I definitely,
what's funny too?
I want this.
Email from folks that you meet. It's so funny, right? Because if you're not in my contacts, which of course you wouldn't be right now,
right? You
just get the email. Well, I'll never forget this lady. She wants to get her child baptized. All this kind of, was like biker chick, 89, all this kind of stuff, right? It's like, who is this person? Why are they emailing?
Right.
So yeah, just especially if you got a weird email, just tell me who you are. And the same way, if you're on the Signal app, or sometimes people text me. I can't text back out. I can receive text, but I can't text back out with my silly plan. So, again, but if it's just a random phone number, I don't know who it is. Hey, thanks for our talk today. I'm like, okay, I talked to 50 people today. So who's that?
Right. For the longest time, my email was drunkenninjamaster@email.com. I won't say that.
There you go. But Felix is much better now.
Yeah, feel it. Yeah, right. At least it's my name at Gmail.
Remember that show, Night Court?
I love Night Court. Are you kidding me?
Well,
I used to
remember
love that
Harry's
show.
dad? He was nuts, and he would say, "But I'm much better now."
I'm much better now.
That's what I'm saying. See, for you guys who are a little older, that's the subtle,
Night
the
Court
humor just for you guys.
Oh,
Gen X,
that's right.
Gen X, and Boomers.
Yeah. No, we had it made with really great comedies, man.
Yep.
Even the TV comedies. Let me get back to the comments here.
Louis the Ninth Crusader. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, he says I'm more of a Louis than Crusader.
I'm for whatever works.
Slick Mechanical is mostly coming from the Hasidim branches of Judaism, such as Chabad, Lubavitcher.
I'm gonna bounce all this stuff off my buddy Norm for all this because he'll know what's crazy and what isn't from an perspective.
Norm has some sort of some backup
Norm sends
knowledge.
me great ideas every week. I got to catch up. There's actually two things he told me to look at, and I haven't yet. And I'm sorry about that, Norm. I will. It just watered through a fire hose lately. Well, we've had actually visitors. I've had like out of town visitors nonstop for a little while. So it's kind of funny too because you're like, oh crap, I got to do this, but you can't be rude to your guests. So you're sitting there and it's like.
Can you kindly leave now? No, right? No,
yeah, I had to. I Father Martin, God love him, he took care of the rest of it, but I had to upset myself.
Love Father Martin. Yeah, big shout out to Father Martin. You got to check out his sermons. I gotta catch up on them, but they're really good.
He does an excellent job. See, I don't normally post my sermons. For one thing, I'm too long-winded, guys. I mean, I'm all for the YouTube watch hour things, but there's only so much penance I can give you.
No, but I mean, you say that joking around, but they're really good.
Oh, well, thank you. Now, I do have the odd stinker.
That's, I mean,
And sometimes it's very contextual for the people in front of me, which is why they're not all, I really should go through them. Melvin went through all this. He transcribed them all and all that kind of stuff. I really should go through them and see what's useful for everybody and what was just sort of parish specific.
Understood. Yeah.
I write them. I put the written one on Substack every week, but I never preach the one I write.
Yeah.
I say about a paragraph of it and a rabbit hole. I'm off. And it's different every time.
Forgive me for doing this, Father. It's a little bit, it's in the middle. I'm going to ask anybody in the chat, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We're getting close. We're getting close to monetization because of the watchers.
Actually, if we can just get, we're almost for what, 407 or 412 or something. If we can get to 500, we're going to have the watch hours this week. So there you go. Then people will be able to do like super chats and stuff. It's the first level.
Yes. Don't you guys want to send us money? So please work.
Now YouTube takes most of it. So ideally you use a donation link, which I don't even have for you today because my site got hacked.
Yeah, we want to get.
I've never even shared the link publicly before. I just started with the parish, so I got one person who actually used it, and then he uses it, and then the next thing you know, it's all Dutch casinos. Who knew?
Yeah, and to be clear, getting monetized, the real reason we want it, the big reason is because we will get boosted in the algorithm as a result.
Oh, do we?
So because now that we make money, we make that money.
How many channels have you operated over the years?
Okay, so this is where, all right, I have about 7 channels that I've tried, and none of them have become monetized on YouTube. I have one monetized
You're
channel
doing it on
Twitch,
right?
Yeah, Twitch and Discord. I at Discord I don't make that much money, but Twitch I actually do much better than anything else. Actually, it's not livable.
I'm wondering whether I should broadcast on Twitch too, but it's a different crowd, isn't it?
It's a different crowd. But it's not the worst idea. It's not the worst idea.
Should I wear antlers?
Yeah, right. No, only if we get a certain amount of like bit donations and stuff. Then if you get a certain amount of gift subs. But we could talk about that later. If you
fix the parish roof, Miko will wear antlers for an episode. Something stupid like that.
Right.
We'll do that for Advent.
Right. And
just joking, by the way. See, people will take this stuff they'll quote it out of context and they'll say nasty things about me on Twitter.
Father Miko worshiping Pan wearing antlers on
Saturday. Yeah, exactly.
Like, no. Leroy says,
well, they just
Rabbi,
make stuff up on Twitter, right? Like it's actually
Yeah.
pretty wild. Like I've talked about this before, but it is kind of a backhanded compliment. If they got to make stuff up about you, it's kind of a compliment. Like you know, because that means, I mean, I could give you a list. You guys already know it; they're my regulars. But I could give you a list of my actual flaws. Felix can give you a list, but they don't pick on me for what I really suck at. They make stuff up. So it is kind of funny, and it's always somebody like with 100 followers. Like it's never somebody. I shouldn't say that. I got someone came at me that was a big account the other day, and I sort of had to be a little nasty, but I was only measuring proportion to what was given to me. So
I've gotten into 2 altercations with big names in Twitter. One was a comic named Christopher Titus.
Right.
And the other is a big time director named James Gunn. He's actually directed the new Superman that just came out. He directed Guardians of the Galaxy, and by the way, he's destroying the DCU right now, which is a shame. Because, you know, like I was actually a big fan of the guy, even though like we got in a war. I like his content. I like his movies.
See, why they do it is they can't get awards if they don't do it, right? So they just sell out. But it makes the movies a commercial non-success.
Yeah,
like no one buys media anymore. That like look at what what's his face Kurtzman did to the Star Trek franchise and stuff. So it's pretty crazy.
Oh Lord.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't like. I went through a good portion of my life where I had no television, no entertainment at all because I was just working all the time and school all the time, and so I have got a good like 15-year block where there was no entertainment. And what happened is in my older years, I don't have the same energy. So I actually I'll watch something on a streaming service, whatever, or like a series. But here's the thing: I don't watch anything that was made after say 2015. Very rarely. There's the odd exception.
Yeah,
but most of it I don't. I'm catching up on some of the stuff, and some of it's kind of useless. But it's sometimes good to have some common ground with cultural connection. You know.
Yeah. I remember I convinced you to watch Picard season 3, right? And you ended up enjoying it. Just to be clear, by the way.
Oh yeah. Actually, you told me to watch that. I did.
Guys, if you do want to watch new Star Trek, Picard season 3, do not watch season 1. Do not watch season 2.
Seasons.
Just don't.
I didn't.
You don't have to.
No.
You don't need to. Just watch 3. You just get upset. You know.
It's kind of a double-edged sword. I get older, and I again managing energy and in a certain sense, I have time to decompress or whatever, and yet. At the same time, being older, you realize your time's more precious, so you don't want to waste it on entertainment. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So it's kind of like a guilty thing. But I like the old Frasier and stuff like that. But I'm
those are great.
Yeah,
Cheers,
I love
Frasier.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked Friends. I know I get a lot of heat for that.
I never saw an episode of that.
Oh, yeah. I didn't watch it till much later. And I liked it. I dug it. It gets a lot of hate. And I was like, oh, because it's like relatively wholesome. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's got a little edgy humor here and there, but it's relatively wholesome. And it's like we got trained to hate wholesome during the 2000s, and it really came to fruition in the 2010s. And we're suffering the fruits of that now.
Gotcha.
You know? Let me see. So Father Higgins says, I will say as a market farmer, I am pro non-GMO, 100% organic. I think genetically modified anything has caused the rise in rare cancers.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Jabs too.
Processed food is not good for us. That's for sure.
Yeah, he says, I am also anti-chemical fertilizers. Amen.
Yep.
Leroy says, I mostly pointed this out that it isn't widespread among Jewish people. For example, I have a Jewish sister-in-law that wouldn't know what you're talking about. She's leftist progressive dem. Right. Yeah, no, fair enough. And it's funny, Leroy, because it's not funny. It's important that you do preface it when you, especially if you're talking among strangers or whatever, you do have to preface it. But like, listen, I'm not talking about all people. I'm
all
talking
of a
about
certain
specific group.
Yeah.
We're talking about a specific.
Well, it's like when we talk about Novus Ordo sometimes in a way that's not, that people that find a little prickly. We're not talking about the devout person that's just trying to get to heaven that has no other option, right? We're talking about the people that are working to subvert the old faith. So you know, and it's true, you know, you can take shortcuts when we're telling a story or something. And if someone didn't know us or they didn't have the rapport to ask the question, hey, when you said that, you know, did you mean blah, blah, blah? Because you can unintentionally paint a whole category of folks that you didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Like most of my priest friends are Novus Ordo priests.
I made a mistake like that the other day too, because I said something about physicists being like not trying, and I was talking about like quantum physicists and like these theoretical physicists. Like they're, in my opinion, they're essentially like lore people, science lore. Like they make like cool adventures with the information they have and come up with like kind of wacky theories, in my opinion. But I think I said scientists and physicists or something. It was such a broad statement. And I'm like, no, and I had to really fine tune that. Like, no, you know, obviously there's physicists who study mass and motion and all that stuff. No, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about like your Neil deGrasse Tysons and your Michio Kaku that can tell you that, oh, there's probably 7 tentacled aliens that live 40 light years away. Like, why do you know that?
Grade 1 teacher.
You know what I mean? There you go. You got that too? They were telling you there was little green men, tentacle creatures.
I'm just being a turkey.
No, fair enough. Norm says, I was one of those atheistic leftist Jews in my past. I identified with and loved Woody Allen and Mel Brooks, but was little aware of much of the branches of Judaism. I felt Jewish, but not religious. Yeah. I think that's like a really good portion, no?
I had no idea, like from the outsider, right? As an outsider, I knew that there was Orthodox, conservative, and liberal Jew, right? But I had no idea about all the other permutations and combinations of the various spiritualities and different things. So I met a guy, for example, who believed and claimed and understood himself as a priest of Aaron, for example. Very interesting guy. He had some very interesting ideas, but I just never ran into somebody like that. And so, you know, and it's kind of funny because in a North American context, for the period of my generation, so I'm Gen X, right? Like I'm in my 50s. There's no friction between Jew and Christian for my generation. Now, the younger people, like the Nick Fuentes, for example, well, they're open up a big can of whoop, right? So they're like, there seems to be a friction between Christian and Jew now amongst some of the young and some of the older.
I'll defend Nick in a little bit here because he also is at the same ilk where he's not like, he just doesn't preface it all the time, but he has. He's talking about the same people we're talking about. You know what I mean? It's just
right. Like, so not really the religion. We're talking about the certain group of people that have networked.
We're talking about the higher ups. Like this, it's the same people corrupting the Vatican, same people that are corrupting what's going on in Israel. You know what I mean? Or if they're not the same people, they know each other and they're very close. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, even the World Economic Gathering. Okay, I will use the word gathering instead of forum, but even that organization is very interesting. I mean, it's very methodical in who it plans to recruit at young ages, and then it brings them through, right? So I mean, and that group, like regardless, like just take religion out of it for a second. These are connected people with very deep networks that in some cases are you know hundreds of years old, and they definitely do try to influence. They use these young people who eventually become politicians, business and science leaders. They use them as their instrument. And basically they keep influence over them by keeping them in the know, part of the club, you know?
Yeah, that's right. And more importantly, Norm, I gotta say, I can't stand Woody Allen, but I love Mel Brooks. I am like, is anybody else in the chat or like anybody else in there get Woody Allen stuff? I never found him funny.
I never watched anything. The only thing I know about Woody Allen, I saw a clip of him and a sheep.
Nobody clipped that. No.
Well, yeah, no one clipped that. Well, I do have Scottish ethnicity, but no, I'm not. Right. So, you know, but no.
Chabad is very small, but very wealthy and very powerful. Okay, yeah. No, I guess I'll take it where I don't even know what that is.
Yep.
Can I be honest? You know what Chabad is?
I don't know either.
Is that a person or a group?
I would think it's like people? A family or a group.
Or yeah.
But it's like when one of your buddies talks about like the UFO stuff, and then they talk about the lizard people and the grays and all. I don't know any of that stuff either.
Sometimes, you get a little too deep in the weeds. But first off, Leroy, this is the type of thing you do want to get deep in the weeds. Like, so again, we got to find a way to get this info.
Hey, there's definitely a battle. Some of it, when I say spiritual warfare, there's definitely like angels and demons and that kind of stuff. There's a level of that. But there's definitely an earthly battle that goes on unseen. Like if you watch any news from alternative sources at all, it's just interesting to see how different people make different connections with stuff. So it's just interesting, different perspectives on the world of how people are making sense of the same news. So there's a group called, and I'm not a member of it per se or what have you, but I just find their takes very interesting. It's called Promethean Action, and it's basically running on the theory that this globalist cabal runs out of London, and so that they see a lot of the stuff that the U.S. is now doing is trying to break that system. So whether it's true or not, you know what, you're going to judge by the fruits. It's an interesting story. In the meantime, I'm going to pull an AJ Gentile or Gentile, AJ of the Y Files. I'm gonna steal from him, and he just says, I like the story. I'm not even gonna advocate for. I like to know the stories, and then I'm gonna judge as things unfold, and then it'll make sense.
Yeah, I guess we're getting. Yeah, it's a branch of Hasidism, Judaism. And then speaking of which, I guess we can kind of segue into. I do kind of have a question, a little bit off script, but somewhat ties into this.
That goes with tonight's theme. Sometimes we stay. I'll never forget, guys. One time we had one of these shows, and I did the little monologue, and no one was interested in talking about whatever I was going on about, but they showed up because they saw
the thumbnail, false advertising,
and then somebody comes in, a visitor, like a brand new viewer, and they said in the chat, like, wasn't the topic supposed to be blah blah blah? And we realized, you know what, we only spent about 7 minutes on blah 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 and 3 hours just shooting the breeze. So that's how it goes sometimes. Anyway, Felix, go ahead. What's your?
So get off my you.
Okay. The Guinness almost went.
Oh yeah, I know. That's number two. That's number two.
The nose there. That wasn't nice.
Oh man, and I totally forgot.
I know that joke. That's pretty funny. That's true.
Yeah. Right.
Loud.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I kind of forgot what I was. What was I going to say before? Do you know?
You said you were going to talk to us about something off topic.
Oh yes. And I'm curious about what the chat thinks too. The Candace Owens Andrew Wilson debate.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so I got to tell you now, Felix and I. Now it's funny. We should maybe do a whole show on this because Felix and I actually disagree on this. Like, and actually, that's good. So what I'm saying is it's more interesting if we fight a little bit, right?
Yeah. But I'm curious. I also want to know where the chat stands.
Because I used to like Candace, but I think she's back crap crazy now. Now, so you guys, I'm not curious. We only have 11 watching us tonight. But anybody who wants to share which side they lean on towards. Yeah. I saw some guy. I hope I clicked it to save in my of interest playlist. But there was a guy, he played, what's his name? Anyway, he put on a wig and he made a mock-up, and he played all three characters. He played Patrick Bet-David, he played Andrew Wilson, and he played Candace with a wig.
Yeah. And this is a wonderful
product. Of course, he has a beard, so it's kind of funny, right? Yeah, but he was very good at imitating all three voices, and I was laughing.
You got to
I got to find that. I wonder that would be funny. If Felix and I do that, I'm going to find a clip of that so we can watch just a little blurb because it's really funny.
Please let us know in the chat what you think. I've actually rewatched it and through clips or whatnot. I really think Candace just like spanked him. Like, and again, I'm an Andrew Wilson fan. Me and you were like, right. We were eye to eye on this. Yeah. I think she spanked him like royally, like almost one-sided.
I didn't get that at all. I didn't get that at all. So I mean, I'd be very interested. We should actually maybe do we should do a little show on that. I don't know whether it's kind of odd for our regular subject matter, but it might be interesting.
I'm in a minority. It looks like again, like There was that one moment.
Yeah,
in
but
there
I
that
spoiled
think
it, Felix.
sealed
I gave my opinion, so maybe.
Oh, so they're
Maybe I should have said
side
anything.
with Father Meekle.
They're going to side with Father.
We're not going to
No,
side
but
with the degenerate Felix.
I used to be a real fan, right? I when I say that is, I got to tell you, I am so impressed with how the conservative movement has sort of reached broader and broader audiences, and so I like to hear different voices that are very different than me, right?
Yeah.
And come to the same kind of conclusions and stuff. And I'm interested in people's stories. I love it. Like when I try to do evangelization with folks, I'm very interested in their story. Why are they even sitting here talking to a crazy guy like me? So I love people's stories, so I mean, I was inclined, just as Felix says, he was inclined to side with Andrew. I figured it was going to be sort of neutral to me. I didn't expect. I knew Andrew. See, I know Andrew when he's on his game. He's one of the best debaters ever. But he has.
You could tell he was off his game. You could tell he was off his game at least.
I've really only seen him do one bad day, and of all the people to have a bad day with, that woman drives me nuts. The one he had the bad day with, but she knew how to strike the nerve, man.
Oh yeah, that one clip. Oh, and yeah, it was.
See, she went after his wife.
It's embarrassing.
She went after his wife, and a man is a protector. We're natural protectors of, you know.
Yeah,
so,
but he aired.
He didn't have to. He didn't have to let her get him. You know, she was just being. She was doing
her
rude.
part, and it was effective because it ended up making him more rude. You know, and you know, yeah, I agree with you. Like that was a bad moment for him. But again, like first off, you could tell he was disheveled. Like he looked sweaty. His leg would.
You know, part of it is my understanding is he has weird sleeping hours, and so Lord only knows what time he was on.
And,
you know?
And Candace was like fully made up. She was so relaxed. She was just kind of like visually. If you had two body language experts, easily Candace wins. Easily. Andrew Wilson was not allowed to smoke.
I gotta show you I gotta show you that spoof though if I can find it. Because
please.
You know what's funny about it? The guy was making fun of her, going on. Oh man, how do I explain it? He was making fun of her in her voice. He was imitating her, going on about, you know, you're not gonna tell me what to think, and you're not my daddy, and you're not all this. And it was so funny. Like it was just like because it was what she was doing on the show. Right?
Yeah. Right. Well,
so this guy could distill. I mean, what a gift to be able to watch a debate like that and act all three parts. And he got Patrick Bet-David breakdown too.
Oh man,
and it was
a
just
wonderful
so funny.
Product.
We
just can't wait. So he couldn't be more disinterested in that debate either. But
I don't know if you guys. I don't know. Let us know in the chat if you want Felix and I to talk about it. But I don't know.
I don't think they
sometimes
do
it's
actually.
Just beating a dead horse, right?
I don't think they do.
We might have to just do like a side vignette, 20-minute thing, and we'll just put it up on the channel. And if you guys want to,
maybe the time passed. You know, I mean, either or. We'll know.
I don't know. If we can do 3 hours of
Candace
Candace and Andrew.
No. Yeah. Right. So. Norm says favorite Woody Allen scene. Bullies come up to Woody to tear off his glasses again, and he starts just throwing them to the ground and smashing them with his own feet. Why let them beat him too?
Oh right, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. No. And Father, I was saying I wouldn't mind doing it 3 hours. I don't know how the audience would.
Well, I don't know if we'd be interesting for 3 hours. Don't worry, right. Felix and I are quite capable of rambling for 3 hours, guys. Just we're not capable of keeping you watching for 3 hours with us rambling. Well, except for the real diehard fans, which we appreciate.
Right. No, yeah, we love you.
Speaking of which, if you appreciate, check in the link in the description below for the Prochadamus Gala and meet us in person.
Yeah. Let me skip to this one. Please don't. We won't. 3 hours of Candace and Andrew, please don't.
All right, Leo, you convince us. So if Felix and I do something like that, we'll do a separate little blurb, and we'll just stick it on the channel, and we'll just say, hey,
Yeah. No, I agree. And now,
okay, I gotta answer. Well, you read what Leroy said. And,
Father Hagen says Candace Owens needs to see a psychiatrist. I disagree.
Right. I agree. So see, Felix and I disagree on this.
That's right. Leroy says I've largely tuned out the whole Candace Owens Charlie Kirk thing.
Yeah,
not the dumbest idea.
I'm with you, Leroy. The thing is that there's no way we're going to have the information that we're going to know from the way it's coming out. So it's what it is. It's just there's all these fantastical theories and stuff, and it just, believe you me, I'm the first one to think there's shenanigans, right? But
It's
in this
definitely
particular
shenanigans.
case, I don't know. I just think it's all a little bit too weird. And also there's a conflict of interest with Candace and also leadership of the organization. So, but that said, that doesn't mean that every criticism she has I disagree with. I don't,
Erica Kirk coming out and like being a rockette and instead of while in mourning, like I don't know, there's a lot of weird stuff about
different
that.
people handle it differently, Felix. In fact, I think I probably I don't know, like, I mean, I was so close to my dad, and when he went, I mean, it's a coping thing. I was just focused on meeting the people that came to the funeral, and I was looked upbeat. Certainly wasn't happy. Dad was gone.
Right.
I did the eulogy.
Could be right. And I've said that too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just funny because if you just thought, you'd say, well, that guy didn't love his dad. No, he died in my arms. I loved him very much. The closest at that point in my life, the closest human being to me. And right. But yeah, we all handle grief differently. And yeah, I think some people would say from that optic, but that's my cope. If I focus on just trying to entertain and help other people, and I'll deal with the pain later, and I'll deal with it like 3 weeks later, right? On a walk or laying in a hammock or whatever. I'll process it in my own time.
At least in that debate, I would say, like, at least the knockout blow was, and everyone's talked about this. It was that scene that, or that moment when Andrew Wilson could not name a charge. He couldn't list one. And then he was like, I didn't think it was a knockout blow, because to me, like, he's normally better prepared. That I'll concede. But I mean, to me, that's not what he was there to fight over. He was trying to address her. You made these claims, so just prove it. And it was funny. That spoof brought that up. Yeah.
That spoof was, I got to find it for you, at least to share it with you offside, because it's got to be in my history, but I don't know how long ago I watched it. Like I say, it's all one great big long day if I'm going back a month of history or something.
Right.
Stupid, but
it's just really a blur. I definitely thought it was a knockout blow, because then he tried to knock her out, and it backfired spectacularly. Now this is the thing. Andrew Wilson made his bones, right? Or he really like cut his teeth on these whatever podcasts and these manosphere podcasts where he just kind of dogs these, loose women essentially for a couple of hours.
It's kind of like stomping on a kitten.
Yeah, and I think
like it's not a real. I can't watch a lot of that, right? Because
me neither.
To me, it's not an entertaining debate.
No, I like to watch if there's something I can learn from it. I don't like to watch the masochism of it or the sadism of it of watching someone just get talked down to for like, okay, I get it.
Right.
But I think he thought that's what this was going to be with Candace. And like he came out with the fake text, which I don't believe, by the way, because first off, the text he came saying that Charlie Kirk says, "Oh, the Democrats are trying to kill me," after Erica Kirk literally said on air that wasn't the case, but now it is the case because Andrew Wilson says so, and who's leaking, I don't believe that. But then for him to come and be like, "Why don't you name all 7 charges?" And then she said, "Okay," and it's just kind of like named them like it was nothing. I thought it was a bad look for Andrew, because I think he definitely thought she didn't know any of this stuff for some reason, which I think don't get.
A bad look for her was the optic that she was just all about the money.
That Candace was about money?
Is that a fair observation?
Is it fair? Yes, it's fair. I don't know if I agree with it, because at a certain point, again, I wash my language, but it's a bit of an F you to TPUSA. Oh, you guys wanted to, okay, fine, 500,000, and I can kind of get that. Maybe the more appropriate term, forgive me, should have been trolling. She was trolling the TPUSA, which I think TPUSA has lost a lot of credibility with people. But yeah, so I don't know if I have a big problem with her saying, "Okay, yeah, pay me 500,000," especially after the heated beef that they have with each other. Okay. And essentially, like, again, someone who likes Andrew Wilson, I should have walked out of that debate like, wow, because I've never thought Candace was crazy that she needed a psychiatrist. I never went that far. Never, I still don't think that.
Well, she kind of has crazy eyes.
But I guess, but I mean,
just
I don't know.
With you, Felix.
Yeah, I hear you.
Poor AOC and Adam Schiff and every once in a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't put those.
Candace, right?
Yeah, I would not put that. I would not put them in the same camp.
Yeah.
But
well, no, not politically, of course, but okay. So what? We'll move on for Leroy's sake.
Fair enough.
And actually,
fair enough.
guys, if you have an idea that you say, hey, I wish these guys would bring a certain topic up, it's always welcome for you. Just put topic : would you guys do blank, right?
Yeah, or ask
and
us now in the chat.
Consider it. And every once in a while, if I get a bunch of them, I'll stick them up on the community post and get people to vote on it. Which topic do you want us to do? Because there's lots of stuff to talk about, but I want to talk about stuff you're interested in.
So Leroy says, I've been more interested in what has been happening in the church. State of the church influences the state of the world.
Well, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there. So, guys, guess what? I got flamed by some semi-famous, like, B-lister Catholics. But when I say B-lister, I'm like a D-lister, right? Or a golf lister, or a G-lister. But I got the ire of some people because someone shared, I think it was Father Calvin Robinson shared, a picture of a bishop next to a woman expecting, like she was ready to go any time. And there he was, and he was a little guy, and he had sneakers on. And he was wearing his bishop's garb with sneakers. And all I said was that, isn't it interesting, in the old days, bishops or prelates used to wear purple socks, cardinals red, and Pope red shoes. And it was to remind all three different groups in slightly different ways that they walked in the blood of the martyrs. That's all I said. Well, I got some online hate for that, right? I was against this bishop and his sneakers and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, all I was saying is, well, see, I also said this. I said the sneakers were a neat symbol of walking in the path of synodality. And I triggered people. And then I got them, oh, you're fake, you're this, whatever. And I'm like, isn't it amazing that they can't answer the story? They have to attack the person. So I wasn't nice with some of the responses, but I triggered a priest and one of these Catholic celebrities, and it's just like, man, couldn't you just say, hey, Father, you're being a little hard on the bishop there? And my point wasn't making fun of the bishop. They missed it. My point was, we used to walk in the blood of the martyrs, and now in the modern Christianity, we walk in the path of synodality, accompaniment with the world. That's all I had an observation for. It wouldn't matter if I was Presbyterian or if I was Confucian or if I was a Stoic or I was an atheist. It was an observation of a change in Christianity. How that got interpreted as a personal attack on somebody, I have no idea. How many of you knew? Oh, by the way, and then the guy started arguing with me. He says, duh, you don't know anything. That never happened. Bishops never wear purple. That's only the Pope. Why must I dance with Ewoks? We used to have a saying in the Navy. So in Commonwealth navies, there's naval toast. I don't know if the U.S. Navy does this. I'll have to ask a sailor. But anyway, you have these toasts, and there are things like to a willing foe in sea room. All right. So the idea that you use all your training for battle, right? So the thing is, there's these toasts, and when I look at this, it's like you want a worthy foe, right? You want a worthy foe. And it's so bad when the Ewoks come out to play and you don't have a worthy foe. And I don't mean to sound like arrogant here, but it's like I do enjoy a good banter. I enjoy a good, holy, smart person that says, Meikle, I disagree with you here. And they come with something reasoned. And then we have a discussion and it's fun and we both learn. But when they just come out and hurl poo, listen, I can hurl poo too. You want me to hurl poo at you? Oh boy, I can hurl poo, right? So the thing is, I try to make it funny or as charitable as I can, but it's also I have to defend the dignity of my office. And you would say, well, you shouldn't be lowering yourself on Twitter on the dignity. Well, anyway, it's the modern medium. It's where you meet people.
That's right. I agree with Archbishop.
See, Norm, you're with me. We're outvoting poor Felix.
Yeah.
I'm going to find that spoof. So anybody who wants the copy of that spoof I'm talking about, it's not long. It's like 3 minutes, but it's just funny.
Yeah.
Anybody wants it, just email me, and I will just say, hey, send me that thing if you find it, and I'll do my very best. It's got to be in my history. I've just got to find it again.
I think you guys are all wrong. I will take.
We might be wrong, but we're going to make fun of you at your expense, Felix.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's it. Those are the rules. Them's the rules. I get it.
That's the rules.
Norm says, I also agree regarding tuning the whole can. I agree with Leroy Bainbridge regarding tuning
let
the
poor
whole
Charlie.
Can.
You know what's the sad part of all this too? On both sides, okay, both sides getting growly. Charlie was okay. I bet you some of you are going to agree with what I'm about to say. You know, when Charlie Kirk, I never watched Charlie Kirk, by the way. I watched it. I saw him clips, shorts. Sometimes Benny Johnson, I watch a news thing and he'd have a clip of Charlie, or I'd see Charlie in a short of him dealing with these people. And when he was gone, I was really upset for 2 or 3 days. Normally that stuff doesn't hit me. I was really upset. And you know why I was upset? Deal. Charlie was the best of us. And what I mean by that is that if you look at his stuff, he was so charitable and loving to people he disagreed with. And I don't always have that charity. So in that respect, Charlie had a lesson to teach a lot of us. And even if you didn't like his message, or even if you didn't like his style, and there's rumors he might discern in Catholicism, whatever, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But what I do know is he was certainly respectful to traditional Catholics. And what I do know is that he was very charitable to these people. I mean, the stuff that man had to endure. He had some idiot woman haul down her shirt in front of him, talking to him and stuff. Like, it was crazy. And so, and then, they blurred it out or whatever when it was reported on. But the thing is that she was trying to do this to intentionally mess his head up, or, make sure his stuff didn't get recorded, or, I mean, guess what? We can edit this, right? We can cover that. Yeah. Thank you.
Or trying to get him like leering. Who knows? I mean, like everything.
But the stuff that people do, right? Like, it's just craziness. Yeah. And he was so nice to people, and he dealt with them, just trying to deal with them with reason. And and Stephen Crowder, like, he sort of borrowed, I don't know, chicken and the egg. I don't know who was first, but I think Crowder followed Charlie with it. But Crowder said he stopped doing these events because it was too scary. He had too many close calls security wise. So he himself felt his life was threatened. And think about that. This is the world we have, that you can't have a free forum of speech like this, right? So when they killed Charlie, it messed me up a little bit, or like set me back a couple days. And I felt like I'm I do a morning offering, evening examen of conscience. I like to think I'm pretty self-aware, that I can put myself in perspective. But jeepers, I felt like it was like a depression for like 2 days. And I remember saying to people close to me, I said, he was the best of us. And if they're going to kill him, when he raised out a hand to these people that I would have a crusade against, and he raises out his hand, I mean, this is what they do. But look at what they did to our Lord too. And this is why, and then people freak out, oh, you're comparing Charlie to our Lord and all this. It's like, I mean, come on. Don't miss the point. I'm not divinizing Charlie. What I'm saying is like our Lord, he learned from our Lord's example. He truly loved his enemies in a way that I'm not sure I always do. I sometimes do, but I don't always. And that's just where I'm at. I view it as a spiritual maturity thing. Some of you are more spiritually mature than me. It doesn't matter about ecclesial office, right? And then vice versa. Some things I'm more hoisted in than you. And that's the great thing about having our time together here every week. But also for those of you who know me in real life, we help one another, right? So in a context of church-wise, so I'm called to a certain leadership and that kind of thing. But in terms, and don't worry, I'm not going all synodal on you, but we learn from one another, and we encourage one another. And especially if so Charlie was an example to me of how maybe I could be a little bit more charitable with some people that I disagree with. Now, I'm pretty good with most, right? Like if you're a trad Catholic and you say, hey, Mikkel, I don't like your apostolic line, and I like my group better, and I think you're a turkey. Okay, well, that's a different kind of disagreement than someone who says, I think anybody who has children is evil, right? And they want to kill all, I shouldn't have said that word. They want to unalive, like that crazy woman that's facing all this stuff, right? There's a real dark evil out there. And then there's also hurting people that are really black-pilled, right? And we've all run into them. They're just so discouraged. Like Some of our young people are like this. They say, how can I ever find a spouse in this world? And then they go to different trad groups. I've had it happen. One trad group, like boy meets girl, different trad groups. And because the groups don't like one another, they sewer the relationship within those two people. Well, where are you going to get new Catholic children?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, let me tell you something. We need to fix marriage, because marriage is not the same marriage of our grandfathers.
No, it's scary. It's very scary. Felix is absolutely right. There's a shift in the anthropology, and unfortunately, just having a good trad family, it doesn't completely cure it, especially if the children go to public school. Even have access to a lot of the YouTube and stuff, right?
Yeah. Didn't you say there was a prediction saying that the family was going to be attacked, the nuclear family marriage?
Oh yeah,
was that?
Sure. There's been attacks on that actually for centuries. It's not, that's not a recent thing, but there's certainly, it's doubled down. I mean, people don't realize. Okay, so some of you will agree with me here. Like one of my hobbies, and I know at least one or two of you share this. I love, and I have very little formal training in economics. I've got like 4 courses or something stupid, 4 one semester courses. But I love Thomas Sowell, and I love Chesterton, and I love Belloc, and I love reading Professor Plinio, and I love the idea of a Catholic social order and or generic Christian social order. How do we make our economy in line with our faith? And one of the things I'll say, I don't really care what GDP per capita is. I want to know, can a 25-year-old afford a house? To own his or her own house with one income? To me, that's a successful economy. No. Right? And right now, we're not there. And unfortunately, you know what? U.S., as much as we're not there in the U.S., do you realize in most Western countries that we're the best? That's scary.
Yep.
That's scary. I mean, there are people that can't afford a house till they're 35, 37. And then you get these idiots, these World Economic Gathering people. You don't need to own a house. You can own nothing and be happy. No, you know what? And this is why I must say a shout out to Ron DeSantis. Is that, and again, you can love or hate Ron DeSantis, but he's right about this. He tried to say property taxes shouldn't be on your first house. Like, I mean, he was trying to get it all removed, but that wouldn't work completely. But really, when you think about it, we shouldn't be taxing your primary residence, right? So it's if you need to charge someone for sewer, then charge them for sewer. You need to charge them for road repair, you charge them for road repair. But this notion that we fundraise off property that we're supposed to own instead of just paying rent to a county, I mean, it's a good philosophy of money discussion to have, right? So that you feel like you can own something in this world, right? So, and that, by the way, is implied in Scripture as well. It's, our Lord doesn't tell us to own nothing and be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. Leroy says winning a debate doesn't always mean that you proved your point. It only means that you've mastered rhetorical skills. Yeah,
or you could do the Diamond Brothers. How many of you guys have seen a Diamond Brothers debate? So these guys they just holler questions over the other guy. So it's not a real debate. I mean, did the Diamonds win against Kasman? Yeah, and I know Jeff Kasman. Great guy, right? I mean, but they did, he came with reasoned arguments, but it wasn't a civilized debate. It was just these guys hollering at them. So it's like, I wasn't impressed at all. I mean, maybe, I'm sure the Diamond Brothers fans find that impressive. I don't find it impressive at all. One of the things that's a pet peeve of mine is any debate. I want people's microphones shut off if it's not their turn to speak. And that takes away some of the WWF aspect, but I'm interested in hearing the arguments. I'm not interested in the wrestling. All right. So I really don't like it when it's a news show or a debate and everybody just free for all screaming at one another. What's good of that? It's like Piers Morgan. He gets all these guys and they're all screaming at one another. I can't understand a thing.
Right. It gets really annoying really fast.
It's a waste of my time. So that's just it. And this business. And then these people seem to think the audacity. See, I would never interrupt somebody when it's there, but if they do it to me, now I'm going to go over the top, right?
Right. That's how it starts. Now in the case of the Candace and Andrew Wilson, this is, I think, another reason why I think she won. He came here trying to out debate her and and he tried these tricks. And again, these are the same tricks he would try to or use on the whatever podcast and all these other manosphere on weaker women, essentially. And I give Candace a lot of credit. She put the kibosh on it every time he would try to rush her, be like, no, excuse me, no, I'll answer your question. You're gonna have to wait, So again, even based off of this argument, Leroy, I think that Candace she won because she wasn't trying to debate him. She, in my opinion, I thought she had either she stated.
I know exactly why I know exactly why we see it so differently. I think I do. You can chat. You can weigh in on this, whether you think Felix and I are right on or not on this. I think, Felix, what you're seeing is that she stuck to her guns. She didn't let him walk over her, and she
knew her facts
calmly. She presented her case, and I think that Andrew won because she couldn't produce any evidence for what she said, and that was his whole point. That's all he was there for. It's like, I agree with you on all this, Candace, but I need to know, where are you getting this? And then she would appeal to these anonymous sources, which could be pulled out of her buttocks, right?
They could be, but also she is a journalist, right? Technically, and journalists don't reveal their sources.
Yeah,
that's a common practice. No, I mean, first off,
I don't trust anything without a named source. And I'll tell you why, because if you guys read my Substack, now sometimes I'm lazy, okay? It does happen. But a lot of my Substacks, you'll see 30 footnotes.
Yeah.
And I was teasing a parishioner there. It was like, I never read your footnotes. I was telling them I put my humor in the footnotes. And they're like, really? I never read them. I said, you should read the footnote. Why? Because I do charming things, like when something really irritates me, I footnote it and I put, you have ibid to say that, the previous footnote carries down. Well, I invented my own. It's called barf. So I put barf in italics. I put that in there. Anyway, you either find it funny or you don't. But I'll sometimes I'll do my meanders. I'll do my rabbit holes in the footnotes. And some Substacks, it's 3 footnotes, it's just scripture quotes. But some, I've got whole essays in there, right? So, I mean, and it's great because if people aren't interested in the rabbit hole, they don't have to read it. But if they are, they're like, oh, yeah, it went this way. So it is kind of funny because, I don't know. I think I'm going to find that parody, and I'm going to be so curious what you think. Because it's funny. We watch the same thing. We both like these people probably equally. And yet we saw two totally different things. I find that so fascinating.
Yeah. I still like Andrew Wilson. And again, I got to be very clear. I just think he lost his debate, And and again, the thing here's the deal with the whole anonymous source thing. If you are a journalist, and I mean one of the good ones, and probably the 1% that is actually good, because I think journalism highly overrated. I don't know. That's all of the talk. But
two words, brother: Steele dossier.
Yeah, right. Responsible journalists. Yeah, responsible journalists.
I had to get that in, right? Where's our horn?
Oh yeah, right. No, that's got to be if you mention Lord of the World, which you haven't done yet.
Oh, that's right. I didn't yet. Don't forget, folks. Lord of the World. It's where we're coming. You don't need a green mask. You get Lord of the World.
Yeah, but if you reveal a source that doesn't want to be revealed, if you reveal one of your sources that doesn't want to be revealed, you burn your source. You burn your source. Right. You burn your access to information.
And that's fair. But all I'm saying is that if you, and I'm not asking her to burn a secret source. The problem is that secret sources are just they're no more credible than pulling out your buttocks.
Yeah. I could be my own secret source. They're the 100% an argument there. The rest of everything around it doesn't make me discount it. I think that we should always be weary. We could find out that it's a psychic source, that told her the stuff, and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, she's totally off a rocker. But I haven't seen that yet so far. But
I think whatever the truth is, I hope it comes to fruition.
And Charlie loved Candace. That they were really good friends.
Yeah, I know she did. Yeah,
likewise. I mean, vice versa. I doubt you could be on the harder on the hierarchy than Father James Altman.
Yeah,
I think
we've
sometimes it's a little too
retweeted one
intense.
another stuff over the years, and yeah, we have a different tone. But I mean, I understand where he's coming from. I have a saying. Now, you guys are some of you are going to be offended, so trigger warning. I have a saying about working with the Novus Ordo that I bet you Father Altman would agree with me. And I say, their unofficial motto is under the bus, because even the ones that try to serve them well end up tossed.
Yeah, that I believe that is,
and that can make you a little like it's like your spouse betrayed you.
Leroy says I'm rather neutral on Candace, and ironically, so am I.
I don't hate her. I just think that she's indicating, she is presenting to me that she could benefit from arrest or a counselor. And then she'll say, you're gaslighting me. No, I'm not saying that you're incompetent or you're whatever. I'm just saying, like, you're pretty wound up here. And it's like, and I mean, it's pot calling kettle black. Felix can tell you, I get wound up some days. Yeah, I got so wound up one day, I made a baby cry in the church, and I felt so bad. Oh.
And I don't get that from her. I see her cool as a cucumber. It's all right. That is bizarre. I thought, especially in that debate, she was cool as a cucumber. So Candace, you're always welcome on the show. But remember, I'm the one who, me and you can team up on Father Michael. But she's a Catholic, right? And going the way. So let me see. Father Hago says he was due to be confirmed at Easter this year, according to his parish priest.
That's Andrew Wilson was going to be Catholic, confirmed and received?
No, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk.
Oh, I mean Charlie Kirk. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
Orthodox.
Wow.
Yeah, like I've heard rumors of that.
That he wasn't
considering it.
Yep.
Norm says I cried when I cried at Charlie Kirk's murder. Yep. It was like a lost one of the most dear people on earth. I love them.
Me too, Norm.
Lover Jesus Christ.
And I feel
Charlie.
I feel almost bad. I agree 100% with Norm here, and I feel almost bad because you know what, Norm? I feel bad that I never watched his stuff while he was alive. Right?
Yeah,
like only in little clips. And it was only in his death that I kind of appreciated him. So that's what I feel bad. I feel like I've missed out. I was on a flight with Benny Johnson one time, and Benny was always saying you should join this clergy thing, TP USA. And I steered clear of it.
Thank God.
Nothing against Charlie and nothing against Benny. I steered clear of it because these guys were trying to build a big tent coalition, and I just was uncomfortable with some of the groups they were building coalition with. And, and it was one thing on a personal level, but I just couldn't put my office with it. I could almost put one of my priests with them, but I'm not sure I could be with them. So I still have a resolved opinion on that. They've never asked me to, formally to join or participate or, I'm so unimportant in the grand scheme of things, a very small following. But
I think that all ties in.
Well, what all I'm getting at is that, I would consider, if I was asked, I would have to consider it. But I'll tell you, I was asked and I didn't act because I was concerned that I would unintentionally hurt my group, right?
And I think you're right. I think you actually absolutely would have. TPUSA is not. That's not the move, my opinion. I think they're absolutely.
It's too big tent for me. Like I'm very niche. Yeah. I'm like Cristero, right? Like I'm not. So you don't. But the thing is, there's lots of people involved with them that I like very much, right? So it's kind of a part of you wants to be part because you like these other people, but then there's another part that says your enemies will use this affiliation against you.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And guess what? I think your friends will use this against you, or like the TPUSA people themselves will use it against you. It becomes
they would use me as a
pawn or something. Yeah. And again, like this is something that Charlie Kirk was actually talking about right before he died, and he started turning down Israeli money or having issues with this, so all of this really ties in. And again, like to have this, Charlie Kirk did not get along with Ben Shapiro. Charlie Kirk did not get along with Ben Shapiro.
So now, Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager, I used to admire. and I shifted on those two as well. So it's kind of funny because I never would have thought I would have, but just the way Ben was treating people that disagreed with him, I didn't appreciate the disrespect. And Dennis, it was his Matt Fradd interview. Like, I love Dennis because Dennis is so smart, and so, you know, he packaged things. Like me, I ramble on forever. He could just distill stuff, and I just admired the gift. And but man, his interview with Matt Fradd, I just like, oh my goodness, this is a horror show. He was defending all kinds of unchaste practices.
Oh,
and saying that,
yes.
yeah. So if you guys watch his interview with Matt Fradd, you'll know why I no longer am a fan. I wish him well. I understand his health isn't well, and he's done a lot of good. But there's an example of someone that I really used to look up to that I was heartbroken. I didn't have any idea. And then of course I had your usual trad friends that said, "I told you so. I told you so." Right.
Right. Of course.
Well, they were right in this case. So.
Yeah. Right. You know. Let me see. What was horrifying was the celebration on the left of his death. It was so bad the leftist YouTuber Shuan had called it out.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that leftist YouTuber Shu is turning our way.
Yeah, she's red pilling.
Yeah, she's gone 180 degrees, and a lot because of the hatred she got for just being human. And but I mean, some of that's her maturing. Like, I mean, I don't mean it patronizing. Okay, we all mature in different areas, and a lot of people start off left and they grow out of it, right? Like Thomas Sowell jokes about it, his own transformation from left to right. So, but yeah, I think like that's still going on, right? Like what horrifies me are all those crazy women that are supporting that murderess, and they're making these signs like these. And I thought it was a strangle sign. It's supposed to be a heart, but to me, all I can think about is how the lady unalived her children by strangulation, right? So they're all sitting there with their hands clawed, and I'm like, oh my goodness! And these people, like,
and you want to know something?
They were more upset. They were more upset that the ex-husband threw away some stuffed animals than they were the death of the children. That was horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah,
the darkness that's out there.
And this is what's really weird too about something I learned about the heart symbol. I don't know if I talked about this with you already, but something I learned about the heart symbol was that it became popularized like in ancient, I think Greece or ancient Rome or whatnot during Valentine's or Cupid and stuff, right? I guess it resembles a certain seed or plant. And you can look this up, but it was basically used to unalive your children in the womb. And
okay.
It would be
congruent with the
thing. Would be used as a symbol, right, from prostitutes. Like if they have the hearts out, like, listen, you don't have to worry about getting me pregnant because, and that's where the heart symbol came from and became popularized, which horrifies me to this day. How many times I was like, oh, hearts, you know, but so. Again, and this is how the devil does. It's like the same thing. It's almost the same thing with the pride flag, you know, like using this symbol of the heart. They think they're showing love, and they're literally doing the same symbol of child unalive. It's like it's poetic in the worst possible way.
Right.
Let me. All right, Father Haygood, we are also selling a limited edition t-shirt for the Market Garden in Abbey. I'll email you the link, please. I'll support. Father, Norm says, Thomas Sowell helped change my life, especially his book, A Conflict of Visions. I need to read that. Such an eye and a heart opener. That book was a revelation.
Thomas Sowell is one of the few famous people. I mean, he's in his 90s now, but it's one of the, like, I'm not one of these guys that fawn over famous people. He's one of the few that I would love to meet.
Yeah. Let me see. Father Miko, I recommend The Church Speaks to the Modern World, the social teachings of Leo XII.
Hey, Leo, do you mean Leo the 13th or Leo the 12th?
I might recommend The Church Speaks to the Modern World, the social teachings of Leo XII. Right. Maybe he means the 13th. Oh, Oops. Leo the 13th. Okay. Gotcha. And here's the last comment. Shuan Head was brought up Catholic, and she recently said she's returned to the church.
Oh, praise God. I didn't know that. That's really good.
Yeah. Leroy, we watch a lot of the same stuff. Yeah, I've been following Shuan Head and kind of rooting for her.
Isn't this neat, guys? We're actually, in the chat here, a lot of us are consuming the same kind of info, I guess, and without any kind of coordination it is kind of neat. Like you're drawn to the same stuff, and the same kind of people keep coming up over and over, right? So it's good, and including in the modern cultural wars and stuff. It's interesting. Like there's different people that have their different parts to play in this whole machine.
Yeah, and that's the last comment we have, Father. But
we'll finish with a prayer. You guys are perfect. Like, oh my goodness, you know, chat. You all deserve a pat in the back because perfectly timed.
Can I ask you one question that Lyra asked me to ask you? All right,
sure.
Because Halloween is coming up, and this was actually, you know, she brought this up, and even I was like dismissive of it, and she's 100% right.
Yeah.
We were discussing maybe visiting a fake haunted house, like, you know, like where people dress up and chase you around the house. It's like it's meant for fun. What are your thoughts on that?
My personal opinion is I don't see anything wrong with it.
You don't see anything wrong with it, even if
it's not like you're going to you're going to some soothsayer that's going to summon a demon, and you know, like, oh, this is a real thing. No, if it's a recreation
for fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
cool,
I mean, we're not talking. Okay, I got to clarify. Like you got to take all these things on a individual thing, right? Like I am not like some people say, "Oh, Ouija board, it's just fun to." You know, no, it's not under no circumstance. But what I'm saying is, if you know, it's like an escape room or something like that. If you know, it's just a curated entertainment experience, and there's no attempt to preternatural, there's no summoning, there's no foolishness like that, then you know, there's no sin in it anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That was it. That's all I got, and I think we're good there.
Well, guys, we'll end with a prayer in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Dear Lord, praise and thank you for all your benefits and your gifts. Help us see the world as you wish us to see. In the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Thank you so much. I will see you next week, and thank you for your patience. I was a little tired today, so hopefully that didn't detract too much from our time together. But I will see you again next week. God bless.
Yeah. God bless everyone.